Sir, my voice is audible. Is there anybody here? Can you please answer for my question? Yes, that is okay. Very good morning. That we are going to discuss and interact about active voice and passive voice. That is the most important in one of the our English grammar. Yeah. Before that, I just want to ask a question. That what is active voice and passive voice in English grammar? Okay. So I just want to let you know this. What is grammar before let's have some introduction part that will have 3 points in the slide. Number one, that is active voice and passive voice or one of the important parts of English grammar. That's I just quote that grammar is important. Why? What's grammar? Your, it is the structure and rules. It's the main concept to speak, write to a language. And voice shows the relationship between the subject and action in a sentence. There are two types of voices, that is active and passive. But why it is because when the active voice says the direct action and the passive voice says the reactions of the action and the receivers. And this is how the introduction of this basic lecture is. And we are going to see what is the grammar, what is the grammar in English. English grammar is a set of rules that correct English. Set of rules that you need to set the segments. Sorry. Sorry for the inconvenience. There is some network issues. So, okay, let's start in the part of what is an English grammar. Before we are going to see what are the things in the language, a grammar is the foundation and it is a core that you need to speak a language or write a language to communicate with the others. The grammar means part. So, you do you have some questions in your mind that why we should learn the grammar when we are considering the language that we need to speak or write? Because like the structure, what I was said before, structure in the sense constructed one. So, if for example, you have one sentence, this what is the basic one? What is your name? It is a structure that you need to use this what your name. Instead of this sentence, we just use your name is what? Is that anything is giving meaning to us? No. Same, I'll just repeat it again. What is your name? Your name is what? So there is a lot of difference between the two sentences. This is why the grammar played an important role in this. So we need to concentrate on the first thing was grammar. So it explains how word or arrange and use together to express the meaning. Okay, before I said what it is, the meaning. Expressions that it should be arranged the word in the particular manner. Why? Because the arrangements is a disorder, okay, that will be as the sentence is not fulfilled and the sentence does not give the exact meaning what the speaker wants to convey the meaning is. So this is why grammar also important, a very subtle manner. And grammar help us to speak and write clearly and also correctly. What does a clearly and correctly means? That when you want to speak or you are going to write about on concept, that you should be a clear point that what you want to convey the message or convey the context or convey the subject in correct manner. So that's what grammar useful to us. So we won't skip the grammar while we are explaining to the context or anything else. So grammar that you need to learn first. Then only you will learn the part of speeches, verbs, and active voice, passive voice. I don't know those who was the teach the grammar is very important and why it is where it is. You should use it like this. You need to do a certain things in certain and also okay. So now so you have some idea about the grammar is the set of rules that I have used for the correction tenders. Okay. Do you have any doubts and clarifications in about what is the grammar in this 3 point introduction? Yes, any doubts and any questions? Sir, how should you use the grammar in English? Yes, very good. That is, grammar, it is the important part as we have discussed it. We'll have a certain structures and rules to use the grammar. Good question. Okay, so we need to learn the basics grammars to set the rules and construct the sentence. That's what we need to concentrate on. Next, before you are going to know about the voices, that is active and passive, you need to know the sentence structure. Why? Because of the active and passive voice is the structure form that we need to change the structure of the sentence so that we need to know before sentence structure is. What is sentence structure? Let me explain this now. The sentence structure. Most of the English sentence have three major parts: subject, verb, and object. What is this subject, verb, object? This kind of that you have been studying from your school days. That subject is the person or thing performs the action. Okay. What are the actions? Oh, then what is the difference between the verb shows the action? Subject and verb also mentions this too also mentions the action. But what is the difference between the subject and the verb and the object? Okay, let me discuss that. A subject is a person or thing. For example, when you see the name of the person, the name of the place, the time, and other things in the subject is that is the subject. The verb shows the action. The subject does the action. Okay, that is called as verb. We'll give some examples for the verb is sitting, walking, reading, writing, jumping, running, swimming, driving. This all the things. It is mentions the actions. That's what the verb called as action verb. And third thing is object receives the action. What does mean object mean? Object in the sense that this is not about the thing. It is not about one object that is pen, pencil, cap, like that. It is not. Object is a difference, slight difference, not a big difference. It's exact. It is slight difference between this normal objects and from the sentence object. That is the structure form. So while you want to discuss between these three things, you need to well know about the sentence patterns. This is what the structure, the rule, the grammar. If you take each subject, I'm sorry, if you take each sentence, you will have subject, verb, and object. Without these three elements, you can't construct a sentence. You can't make a sentence in grammatical form. That's what we need to make. Okay. So grammatical form. That subject, verb, and object. Why I am saying this repeatedly? You need construct this thing with the sentence. When you analyze the subject verb object, then only you need to know the voices. Then you need to know how to convert the voices into active to passive and other things. Okay, so now you have, sir, you have the doubt, sir, how to identify this is a subject, this is the verb, this is the object. That is a very important question. That how to identify, okay, how to identify. Now you have the slide that how to identify the sentence structure. First thing, find the subject that performs the action. Performed that something is happening or something is happened, that who is going to conduct that, who is involved in that. For example, a name, place, time, person. So in the sentence structure, first you need to know the name, the place, the time, and it's have some of the examples, etc. That is what the subject is. First thing. Next thing is identify the verb. What is verb that we already discussed about the action words in the sentence. Can you give some any examples for that is action in comment box? Yes, very good. Walking, good. Many words. Any other words? Okay, good. Running, jumping, very good. Fine. Okay. When we consider about the verb things, we have two set of words. One is transformative verb, another one is intransformative verb. When you consider the verb as a intransitive verb, that is, it is a changing the sentence that active to passive. You can't change the interactive verbs in the active and passive. That you need to clear about it. The verb is only interactive that you need to change. Instead that we can't able to do nothing. And finally, object. Find the object. How it is the person or thing that receives the action. Ask what? Sir, what is that you are told that ask what in the slide, sir? That means nothing. It's just when you give any examples about a sentence that you ask what for the question. Okay, I'm going to school is the sentence. In that sentence, you will just say the first three words. I'm going to where, what, you are going to where. That is, you can simply take it as a W form of questions, which is where, why, whom. These all the objects. When we sentence use that it is why, was, where, when. Kind of things is the W form of questions that you need to analyze. So when you analyze the used in sentence that asking about the words that you will get the object. So this is what this is just the main things to identify the sentence of the structures. Okay, and I will give some example sentence to the sentence structures to identify how to. The first thing is captain navigates the ship. Okay, I read again. Captain navigates the ship. In this sentence, you deeply analyze the captain. That is the subject. Already I said that subject is the name, place, time, person. So captain is a person. Okay. Navigates. What is how navigates comes from the angle of verb because verb actions. Navigate is the making paths and showing how to control the ship. So object ship. Ship is the object. Captain navigates. That you will find out that captain is a subject, verb navigation. But what is that? You ask the in last slide, you will see the third point. Final of this, find the object, the person or thing that receives the action. Okay, captain. Now you can see the slide. Captain navigates what? Ship. Now you will underline the word ship, that is the object. Now you can understand. Okay, the captain navigates the ship. In the sentence, if you segregate the sentence pattern, that is subject, verb, object, probably you will get the word. And the next example is a crew loads the cargo. Okay, again, the crew loads the cargo. In that, you will see subject, a crew, load. Load means it's an action that many bulk of packages loading in a compartment or loading in a container. It is the action of loads. And the crew loads. Loads what? In object. What is the object? Is cargoes. Loads. A crew loads the cargo. That you can probably get the sentence pattern. And you can see the next sentences. The engineer repairs the engine. Again, the engineer repairs the engine. The engineers repair the engine. Now you can see that the subject is the engineer. Why? Because the engineer is a subject. Can anybody say in the comment box? Yes, good. Because engineer is a person. Engineer is the action that is saying the verb. Repairs. Repairs is the action. If something is been fault, they will repair it through the missions or any kit. So the repair is that is the our subject doing the action. The action is mentioning the subject. That's what repairs. Okay, the engineer repairs what? What engineer is going to repair? Why? Why? The what? Asking questions object. Okay, you can do that. You can ask question with why, what. That's be I can before said object, engine. Okay, now you can completely say the sentence again. The engineer repairs the engine. In that sentence, you will see the subject, verb, object, and the officers checks the radar. Officers check the radar. The officer checks the radar. Officer is a subject. Verb is checks. Object is radar. You just say why it is. I will segregate with the officer is subject. Verb is checks. Object is radar. Now you can see the difference of these four sentences. You will easily understand what the subject is, what is verb is, and what is object is. Okay. Now you can have a little bit idea about this grammar and how to find and in grammar. Why? Because it is to construct a sentence. The grammar is useful to construct a sentence and how to identify the sentence with this kind of subject, object, verb. And so next thing is we come into the part of voices. This very important point. When we done the basic things of grammar and the sentence structure, now only we are entering into the our lecture. Voice in English grammar. Okay. Voice is a grammatical form that shows the relationship between the subject and action verb in a sentence. Okay. So this voices shows the relationship between the subject and actions. That's the verb. That's what we say that. Subject and object. It will shows the interconnection of how the sentence should be formed by the relationship that the action shows the subject. Okay, subject shows the action in a sentence. It tells us whether the subject performs the actions or receives the actions. Okay, what is the action is a verb. In grammatical technical term, it is the verb. But it is the performance that who is going to action, who is going to receive the action. It is the difference. It is the main difference between that who is going to engage and who is not, who is happening. The relationship in the sense that what is happening in the situation or the first person, third person speaking about the, it's also comes under the action. So now you can analyze the things by only the subject, object, and verb. Why? Because of it is a most important part in your subject. That is a voice. Voice. There are two types of voice in grammar, and one is active and another one is passive. Okay. In that active, you should know what is active, what is passive. I just want to teach you a little things to you guys. One is before you are going to analyze one subject or topic, you will have the headings. Okay. Voice for example, take this slide of the example. Voices in English grammar. Before we are engaging or interpreting that voice is what is meant by voice, it is a sound of language, yes, and in english is a kind of language. Okay. Grammar is rules. Okay, when you know the meaning of the heading or the title itself, the topic itself, you will learn a little bit what is your discussion. Okay, the grammar, English, voice, English, grammar. Okay, that is the type of language that we need to use in the English by the set of rules. That's what the heading is says. So it is not only for the active and passive voice. When you take 8 parts of speech, okay, as same as grammatical things, what are the topics it is comes under if class, the degrees of comparison, modern verbs, necessary verbs. So you will have a number of topics in the English grammar that when you analyze it, you need to know things before you are going to come into the text. You need to analyze the title first. And so the next slide is active voice. Now you will probably get idea what is grammar, what is structure sentence, and what are the voices in the English grammar, and so. So active voice. So now you can analyze. Now you can give a full listening. So to the sentence in active voice, subject performs the action. The sentence is in active voice when the subject performs the action. Okay, it is quite similar, but when we are discussed before slides, subject performs the action. The force is on the doer of the action. The focus is on the doer of the action. Okay. The focus is on the doer. Who's the doer? Subject. Okay. Doer in the sense a person name in the sentence. When you consider the sentence structure, okay, you need to, when it is an active voice, you need to focus on the doer. Those who are doing the action, yes, correct. So those who are doing the action is the subject. So active voice should be in the structure. See the third point, structure. Yes. What is that? Subject, verb, object. What we are discussed before. Okay. Example, the captain navigates the ship. Okay. The captain navigates the ship. Yes. So as we had the sentence structure example, I will give the same example here too because for your easy understanding. Okay. Subject is it captain, acting, navigates, object, ship. Okay. When you go to the active words, you will have only the three sentence patterns. One is the subject, and another one is the action, and the next thing is object. Okay, this is what the active voice. So in first point itself, you need to understand that when the subject performs the action, understood the point again and again, subject performs the action, and you need to focus on the doer of the action. Two point is very important when you come to learn, or you need to check it is active voice or passive voice. You need to focus on the doer. That is the subject. Okay. So in the sentence, okay, the captain navigates the ship. We'll discuss about the sentence once again. Who's the doer? Navigation is the action. Okay. Navigates the ship is the object. Ship is the object. Navigation is the action. Focus on the doer. Who's the doer here? Ah, very good. The doer is the captain. Yes, the doer is the captain. His action is navigation, and the object is the ship. Very good. The captain navigates the ship. It is the active voice. Okay. Good. So we consider that the captain navigation the ship. It is the active voice. And can anyone give any examples that any sentences like with the active voice? Okay. So you need to have one subject in the sentence, one verb in the sentence, and one object in the sentence. Can anyone? Ah, very good. I'm playing the cricket. Okay. I'm playing the cricket. Okay. I'm is a subject. Playing is the action. Cricket is the object. Why it is? Am a subject. That is the inactive voice. That is the doer. Focus on the doer. Am playing. Playing is the action. That the subject performs the action. Who is the subject here? I am is the subject. Performs the action is playing. Yes, good. Action is playing. Okay. What? I'm playing what? What? When we consider when we discussed about the object right category, when you know that you ask question what? When you ask what, when you will get the object. I'm playing what? I'm playing a cricket. Very good. Thank you for the sentence. And we're going to discuss the next part, which is the passive. So now we need to give a more focus for the passive voices because the active voice you can easily found out with the subject, verb, and object. But in the passive, you need to give more attention to change, to convert, or to change. So the sentence in passive voice when the subject receives the action. Okay, it's quite similar. Okay, in that active voice, the subject not receives. Okay, it is focused on the doer. In the passive voice, a sentence is a passive voice when the subject receives the action. It's the first point. And see here, the focus is on the action or the receiver of the action. On in active voice, the focus is on the doer. Okay, so doer action. Okay, doer action. That is the subject and verb. In this passive voice, the focus is fully on action. Okay, that is the verb and receiving of the verb. Okay, good. The focus is on the action or the receiver of the action, not the doer. Okay, underline the point, not the doer. In passive voice, you need not to concentrate on the doer. So you need to focus only by the action and the receiver of the action. If you have a notes, if you're taking the notes, you just point out my points that what I'm giving you. The passive voice is the subject receives the action. Okay. Receives the action. It is a keyword that whenever you read the sentence to convert active voice into the passive voice, you need to concentrate on the subject receives the action. Okay, we'll have the examples here. Okay, we can discuss later on. The focus is on the action or the receiver of the action, not the doer. Okay. And this is the formula that it is the structure how the passive voice should be constructed. Okay. The passive voice should be constructed by one is the object. Okay. Oh, it is quite similar, right? Sir, you will ask question. Sir, in active voice, the object is in the last. But in passive voice, the object is in the first. Okay, okay. Object plus be verbs. Okay, be verbs plus be3. What is the past participle V3. V3 is nothing but the verb 3. Okay, we'll have three forms of verb. One is verb, sorry, one is verb V1, V2, V3. And what is the past participle? Present participle, past participle, participle verbs. Okay. The past participle is the third form of verbs. For example, eat, ate, eaten. Okay. In the first, eat is the verb one. That is the simple present. And the V2, V2 means verb two. Okay. Present participle. Ate. Ate in the sense past. Okay. So the participle V3 is eaten. Oh, okay. So by you need to add by the subject. It is quite complicated to understand, but you need to give a little more attention to change this active to the passive. Okay, because you need to add the structure. It should be object plus you need to be add the V words and you need to correctly put the participle verb three. That is the form V1, V2, V3, and plus by plus subject. Okay. Again, I will teach you this in slow manner. First, you need to change the active voice to passive voice, but you need to concentrate on the object first. And B verbs. So you need to know what are the B verbs are there. So conjugate and participle, that is the V1, V2, V3. So when you want to know these three things, you should concentrate on the verb one, verb two, verb three. What are the action verbs or in the English and its form? You need to know the V1, V2, V3. It is very similar when you have a time. You say, okay, oh, you have some times to give the. You will. I will say one word. Okay, you guys give some verb forms. Okay, clean. So it is the action verb. You just say what is the action verb of clean and V2, V3. Um, clean, cleaned, cleaned. Okay. Okay. So in the V3 of the word clean, you should use the cleaned. Okay, clean, cleaned, also clean. Okay. Any other examples? Okay. The word run. Okay, no. Word sing. Okay. V1 is sing, V2 is sang, V3 is sung. Okay. I sing a song. I sang a song. I sung a song. Okay, this three is the action verb that is in the participle form of verb one, verb two, verb three. So when you know this kind of collective words, then only you will involve into the passive voice by adding the subject. Okay, so do you have any doubts in the passive voice? How to use it and how to consider that in the sentences? Any doubts? Okay. Sir, how to change active to passive, sir? Okay, that we are going to discuss now. See the examples of the ship is navigated by the captain. Again, why I am using the same sentences is only for your understanding. Okay, so that you will easily grab the thing what it is active and passive. That's why I use the same sentences. The ship navigate by the ship. Okay, it is the active voice. Again, we will discuss for few seconds. That is active voice. The ship is a. You can say to me, ship is the subject. Okay. A navigator is a received. Okay. The captain, plural. Okay. The ship is navigated by the captain. Sir, you can see it is in the sentence passive voice, subject receives the action. Okay. So see the structure and we just keep the structure and sentence in the same way. The object, ship is the object. Oh, good. Ship is the object. Okay. Is navigated. Okay, navigated is the third form. Navigate, navigating, navigated. Now you can see the B3. Navigate, navigate, navigated. Hmm? So by the captain. By the captain is the doer. Okay, in passive voice, the action. Okay, focus on the action. What is the action here? Navigated. That is a navigation. Okay, the ship is navigated by the captain. In active voice, we can discuss here before. Captain navigates the ship. The captain navigates the ship. In the passive voice, see, the ship is navigated by the captain. Okay, the ship is navigated by the captain. Yes, subject is the ship. Action received is navigator. Doer is captain. Okay. So now you'll understand in little bit that what is passive voices. Okay. So if you have a notes, please again I'm saying note the object plus be verb plus participle B3. Okay. Plus by plus subject. You need to add by. Okay. You need to add by the captain. By me. By myself. By we. Whatever the subjects that you need to change, you have to add that is the formula. Okay, that we need to analyze and we need to interrupt the cross formula to convert active voice to the passive voice. You just relax now and we will go for the next slide. Next slide is cross formula. Okay, I'm changing the slide now. Okay, now you can see cross formula. Okay, it is very important methodology to convert the formulas that you need to active and passive. Okay, now we just recall once again what all we had discussed before. Okay, first we discussed about the active and the passive structures and everything is fine. That we are very clear on it. We don't have any doubts in it. Okay. So now we cleanly check across formulas. Okay. In active voice, the structure is subject, verb, and object. You are very clear. The subject, verb, object. The subject. Subject is the person. The captain. Verb is the action. Navigates the ship. Ship is the object. This is what a basic form, a basic formula, a basic sentence structure for the active voice. Yes. Second point is in passive voice, the object moves to the subject position and the subject moves after the by. Sir, why by? What does mean that by is? That's what I said that in the passive voice, see the structure object plus verb plus V3 plus by. Again, object plus verb plus V3 plus by. Okay. So now you can see the formula template. In the passive voice, the object moves to subject position and the subject moves after by. Now you can understand why it is by. Any doubts? Okay, clearly understand. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you for your answers. Okay, the subject positions and the subject moves after by. Okay, the verb changes to be verb as participle. That is the B3. Oh, okay, we just discussed before. The change to be verb and participle. That is the third form of words. Okay. So you will have the formulas in the template. You will just see down the formula active. So you need to use the formula to create the active sentence. It is the subject, verb to object. Okay. In passive, it is the formula that you need to take object first Now plus B3 by subject. Okay, this is what the formula. Please write it in your note or makes note that its formula is very important to change the active voice to passive voice. Okay, so okay, have you all noted down? Okay, thank you. So see the examples of the active and passive voice. Example, the active voice, the crew loads the cargo. Again, I use the same sentence for your understanding. The cruise loads the cargo. It is the active. The crew is the subject. See that you just apply the formula for the sentences. Okay. The crew is the subject. Okay. Loads is the verb. Loading is the action of the content. Okay. And the cargo is the object. So if you want to convert this active voice to the passive, okay, the cargo is loaded by the crew. Yes, cargo is loaded by the crew. Why it is totally changed alternately? It is upwards to downwards. Okay. So the crew loaded the cargo is upwards and it's alternately changed to the downwards to upwards. Yes, exactly. The cargo is down, sorry, the cargo is loaded by the crew. Okay, what is the difference? So now you can use the formula. Okay, when the active voice concentrated on the doer, when it is a passive, it is concentrated. It is not focused on the doer. Then why? Then what? Then it is focused on the action. Okay, the cargo is stress the word. The cargo is loaded by the crew. It's the passive. Okay, when it comes to the active, the crew loaded the cargo. Now we can apply the formula here. It will be yeah, it will be applicable and it will be easier to understand. For I will read again the sentence, you will understand. And when I stress the word, you will apply the formula. You can probably get what it is, the difference between the active and the passive. The crew loads the cargo. The crew, that is the doer, and we are focusing on the doer. And next, the verb and the object is the secondary part in the active words. When it comes to the passive, the focus is full on the action or receiving the action. Okay. The cargo is loaded by the crew. When I stress the word loaded, that is the action. When it is coming in the part of passive, okay, we need to focus on the action. This why I'm staying in the formula template for a long time because of this formula is the core when you concentrate and when you convert the active voice and passive voice for your examination. Okay. Not only for the examination, instead you can also use this formula to learn a language. Okay. So we have some more example points in the next template. Okay. To see the examples of active to passive, so you will have the question. The question sentences that is 1 to 5 is the active and the answer is a passive. Okay. The teachers explains the lesson. Okay. The teacher explains the lesson. The lesson is explained by the teacher. Oh my God, that you can see the total change of the sentence that the object comes friends in the answer, but the question is the teacher explains the lesson. Okay, the teacher is the subject here. Explains is the action. Okay. The lesson. The teacher explains what? What teacher is going to explain? What else teacher is explaining? Okay. The object. What is the object in the question? The lesson. Yes. The teacher explains the lesson. Good. That's the active words. When the answer, it is a passive. Okay. The lesson. The lesson is explained by the teacher. Okay, here totally objects comes from the first and subject goes in the last. That's what I say, that upward downs. Okay, it starts from the upward downs and it's from the alternate. Okay, so lesson is explained by the teacher. Now you can probably understand this things is the active and the passive differences is, okay, it is totally about the subject and object. Okay, the captain commands the crew. Okay, again the same. The captain commands the crew. When it is an active sentence. Okay, so now you concentrate on the second. The crew was commanded by the captain. Okay. The crew is commanded. Okay. Here we are focusing on the receiving action. We are focusing on the receiving action. Okay. Not doer. Okay. The crew is commanded by the captain. Okay. It's very easy, huh? Little bit. Okay. The engineer fixed the engine. The engineer fixed the engine. Good. Now you can see the engine is fixed by the engineer. Yes, the engine is fixed by the engineer. Why we are, why I'm stressed? Why? Because of fixed is the receiving action here. Okay. The crew cleaned the deck. Okay, cleaned. Can anybody say cleaned is the verb two or verb three? Yes, it is quite critical because before that I said clean, clean, clean. These two and three. Okay. Yes. V2 and V3. Clean the same for V2 and V3. Yes, very good. Very good. Thank you for your answers. The crew cleaned the deck. Yes. So when you change this active voice to the passive, the deck was cleaned. The deck is the object, was cleaned by the crew. Okay. Cleaned by. Okay. Was cleaned. Be verb. Was cleaned. Be verb. Plus formula. By. Yes. Plus by the subject. So the subject here, crew. Crew is the person, peoples. Yes. So subject is totally comes in the last in the passive voice. Okay. Objects comes in the first. Okay. We will concentrate on last example. The officer completed the report. Okay. Completed, complete, completes, completed. It is a B3. Okay. The officer complete the report. The report was completed by the officer. The report was completed by the officer. Okay. The report is the object. Yes. Was completed by the officer. Okay. Now you will get a doubt about the is was in the answer. Okay. Yes. The engine is fixed. The deck was. Sir, why is fixes and when you use is and the crew was cleaned was, now you can analyze the sentence whether it is in the present or past or perfect present continuous, or you need to know the tenses too. So you need to concentrate on the tense while you are analyzing when you are converting active voice to passive voice. Then see the fourth question. The crew cleaned the deck. Cleaned. It is the cleaned. Ed. V3. V3 in the sense of past participle. Past in the sense of the action is has been done before. So on the time when you convert this kind of happened sentence, when you saying the happened sentence to in the passive structure, you need to use was. Why? Because of it is the structure. It is the rule. That's why from starting itself I said that in English grammar. Okay, so it is the structure. It is the rules that you need to say the sentence and structure in the form of past, present, and futures. All those things. The officer completed the report. Was the first one. The report was completed by the officer. Yes, report. So when you see the question completed, yes, the report was completed by the officer. Okay. So now you all clear about this thing. Okay. Now it is any doubts and any clarifications because I'm going to give a task to you all in the next slide. Any doubts and any clarifications? Okay. So, sir, if we want to know the structure forms, we need to learn the tenses, sir. Yes, my dear, you need to know the tenses, right? Why the form of the basic grammar is not only mentions the active voice, passive voice, and all. From the 8 parts of speeches to 12 forms of sentence to then you will comes to the all things. Okay. You have a time just concentrated on tenses and uh, also for the things in the grammar. Okay, we can't analyze it is active or passive without knowing the grammar. When you do that, it will make mistakes on what I discussed in the question number 3 and question number 4 is fixed, was cleaned. Okay, is fixed and was cleaned, was completed. Okay, in that thing you will get stuck. Thank you for your question. And so it is time to task that. Yes. You can see the template. Okay. Time to task. Change the following sentence into passive voice. Okay. Just takes your note. I'll give a few minutes time. Okay. You just discuss in yourself and change the 10 sentences active to passive. Okay. Active to passive. The captain navigates the ship. The crew loads the cargo. The engineer fixes the engine. The officer checks the radar. The sailors posted the plan. Sixth one is the next 5 years. The teachers explained the lesson. The workers built the bridge. The manager approved the report. The mission fixed the mechanic fixed the mission. The students completed the assignments. Here we go. You'll have a full minute's time. Just convert this all this thing, okay, and put your answers there. I will check, okay, and when your time will be completed, I will give you the answer script in the next slide. Okay, your time will start. If you have any doubts when you are changing this active to you can add it your questions in the comment box. I'm here to help you to complete this task as soon as possible. Yes. So I'll give you some tips when you are changing the active to passive voice. Okay. When you read the sentence, you need to analyze the verb V1 or V2 or V3 and at the same time check the sentence pattern. Check that tenses. Okay. Analyze the sentence pattern and also the tenses, whether the sentences is mentioning the present or it is happened in the past or it will be happen in the future. Okay, that you need to most probably a future sentence is not probably change as a passive. When the two things is majorly considered, which is one is active, sorry, one is past or it is present because action will be is the future form. So most of the future things is not partially like least possible. Okay, not change to the passive. Okay, most concentrated thing is present or the past. In the 12 forms, okay, 12 forms of sentence, tense a sentence, you need to concentrate on the 8. Okay, for the passive is not useful to the form of future forms. Okay, that you need to know. It is when we have a time to take a tense class, we will consider that what are the 12 forms of tenses of the. Okay, okay. See the second part of the fourth question. That is the mission fixed. Fixed in the sense it is the present or past. Can anybody say? Past, yes. Why? Because it has happened. ED form. Okay. Third, verb three. Okay, super. The mission fixed the the mechanic fixed the mission. That is already happened. Okay. And also see the third. I mean second part, third question. The manager approved. Okay. Approved. Approving. Approved. Okay, approved. Approved is the third form. Yeah, B3. So it is the third form that the manager approved the report. Already done. Okay, the workers build the bridge. Build. Yes. Okay. Now I'll share the answers to the 10 questions. Okay, you will check whether it is the right or not. Okay, and say how many sentences that you changed rightly and how many wrong. Okay, now you'll have the answers for the 10 questions. Okay, answer. The ship is navigated by the captain. Sentence. The captain navigates the ship. Navigates ES. But in passive, you will change it as a V3. Why? Because of it is the formula. No more what to say? Mm, no more options to change that V3. It is a rule. That's why I explain you grammar is much important and rules and sentence structures you need to know. Mug up, mug up the rules. Then only you will change the proper sentences in the answers. And second answer is the cargo is loaded by the crew. Crew is loaded the cargo. Cargo is loaded by the crew. Okay, loaded, ED. Okay, you have no options to skip the V3. That when you use the passive form, you need to use ED. Okay, that is the third form of the verb. Whatever the word. Okay, the navigation. Okay, navigated. Load, loading, loaded. Repair, repairs, repaired. Check, checked, checked. Okay. Host, hosting, hosted. Explain, explaining, explained. Okay. Approve, approving, approved. Okay. Fix, fixing, fixed. Okay. Complete, completed, completing, completed. This all the words are concentrating on the V3. Understood? Verb, third form. That is the past participle. Okay. In your answers, you will get what are the things that you are going to handle it. That is, the engine is reported by the engineer. Okay. In that sentence, the engine is the object. Engine is the object. Okay. Is repaired by the engineer subject. Okay. When you change, it is the active to passive. When you come to the active to passive, thousand times I'm repeating. Object comes first, subject goes back. Okay, it is occasionally maybe asked that a passive sentences should be changed to the active, but the main thing is active is to be converted as the because of the rules. That's what the thing is. Okay, the flag was hoisted by the sailors. Okay, the radar is checked by the officer. The officer, engineer, sailor, teacher, worker, manager, mechanic, students. These all criteria is the subject. That is the doer, focusing on doer. Okay. The ship, the cargo, the engine, the radar, the flag, the lessons, the bridge, the report, the mission, the assignment. This all are the object. Okay. Navigated, loads, repaired, checked, hosted, explained, built, approved, fixed, completed. This all V3. Keep it in your mind. So all things is the V3. Okay, verb 3. And by. See, by the captain, by the crew, by the engineer, by the officer, by the sailor, by the teacher, by the worker, by the manager, by the mechanic, by the student. This by is a rule. Okay, you can't change the rule when you are convert the active voice to the passive. Okay, now you will check. You will most probably get what is the active and passive voice. Okay, however, the question is to be asked in this particular forms that you change the active forms to the passive forms. Okay, it is very easy when you are know the verb forms and you will know the tense forms and you will probably uh, identify what is subject, what is verb, and what is object is, and you will easily use the cross formula. Okay. If anybody wants to, okay, okay. If anybody wants to follow the formula again, I will show, I will display the cross formula for next 30 seconds. You will write it down in your notes. Okay, because when I completed the answers, I'll just show once again to the cross formulas. Okay. The formula active is subject, verb object, and the passive is object be plus verb. See here, by plus subject. See the formula 2, that is the passive. Object be plus verb 3 by the subject. Okay, this is what the main informant, or else if you want to take a screenshot, you can take it. Okay, now we are almost at the end of the session. That active and passive voice are important in English because they help us express directions clearly. That's what before a grammar is useful to say. Again, the grammar is useful to speak and write in clear and correct form. Okay? Grammar is useful to clear and correct form to make a sentence or to speak. Okay. Active focuses on the person who performs that. Active voice is performance on the focuses on the action. That is the passive focus. Action and focus on that is the is focusing on the action or the object is visible. Hmm? Understanding both forms helps to improve your writing skills, sentence writing, communication. Okay, you will raise a question. Sir, you know why you're reading and you're writing and you're learning this kind of grammar thing? Nothing. It is the correct form to learn and write. And it is the right methodology to analyze. It is the right methodology to think, to communicate with others in the oral form or in the written form. Okay, when you know this kind of things, then you will when you learn the subject before you will have a good language. You will probably understand what the language is in other subjects too, because language plays a vital role in your education system. So that it is very important when we are considering the other subjects. So I hope that you guys are learned good things today in my lectures. Okay, so if you have any doubts and any clarifications, we are in the end of the session. You will ask me any doubts, any clarifications. I will get to check. Okay, well, put your doubts in comment form. Okay, thank you.